Thanks again for joining us. We're on episode 96 of VIP Boxing's Bell to Bell podcast. For those of you watching on YouTube, thank you. Those of you on Spotify listening, thank you. And the biggest thank you of all to everyone who is downloading and watching on iTunes. I've got a thing sent to me tonight from Lee Hogan, who helps clip this together, and we're number 11 in the iTunes charts today. So for the Apple Sports charts, whatever that means. So we're doing something good, and a lot of that might have been down to our guest Ron Lewis last week. He was good value. You know me, Steve. You know John Evans, and tonight one of British boxing's very best, a man who went so close to capturing the WBO World Middleweight title against Janibek Alimkhanuly just over 3 weeks ago. It's Battersea's very own Denzel Bentley. Denzel, thank you very much for interrupting the World Cup to come on.
Thank you for allowing me to interrupt it.
Yeah, well, no, it's very good of you. You must be excited for the big one on Friday, Ghana versus Uruguay, and revenge for Luis Suarez.
Yep. As we've been saying, this one's personal. I can't wait to see that game.
Yeah. You've been watching it at the World Cup, Mr. Evans, or you've been too busy working?
Yeah, but I love it, I love it. It's been a bit flat, hasn't it, though? I'm still waiting for a team to take it by the scruff of the neck and become the team to beat. So I'm hoping this round of games, it picks up a little bit and we see something, because it's all been a little bit simmering so far.
Yeah, mate, I've barely missed a game. I've set my little office up in the front room and I've virtually watched every game, and we're recording this on Monday, and I think it's Uruguay-Portugal. I'm missing half an hour of, and it's one of the first games I will have missed any action of. I've been very selfishly hogging the TV. But so we're going to kick on, Denzel. People will wonder why we haven't talked about your fight against Janibek. But, John, that's going to be the very first round. John, are you ready?
Yeah, I've got little Lloyd Hunnigan here.
Little Lloyd Hunnigan, the Bulldogs there.
Here he is.
Yeah, Lloyd.
He's called, named after Lloyd Hunnigan.
Oh, yeah.
He's a star.
It's been a git, so piss off. Yeah,
you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, round one, Denzel, your performance in Vegas. So if you start, then John and myself can have a chat.
Yeah, as we're saying, looking back on it, that's settled. I think it was a good performance. Of course, the scorecards didn't reflect the fight. I think I pushed him, but I could have pushed him more. And I honestly, I believe first, but I honestly believe if I had a rematch with this guy, I can beat him. I think I could beat him. I think I could have beat him, 3 weeks ago, and maybe tightening up on a few of the tactics, maybe starting a bit earlier. But I think getting the decision in Vegas would have been tricky, judging by them scorecards. But I reckon I have the ability to beat him.
You know what? I'll be totally honest. I can be. I thought it was a massive ask for you before the fight. I said that on here, but you know what? What I think when, I thought in the second half of that fight, everything was perfect. I thought you were perfect that second half of the fight. But you know what? You're getting, does it get, what I was wondering, do you get, where people are saying they're proud of you and how well have you done? Being the winner that you are, do you like that praise, or do you get a little bit, oh, I don't want to hear this. I never won. I never got a decision. I never come home the world champion.
It's a bit of both. I don't really like it. I'd rather have come back and everyone says I'm proud of you because you won. But I guess it keeps me in a good position. Do you know what I mean? I didn't, I lost the fight, but I won morally in some sort of way. So it's like, you know what? Maybe it weren't so bad. So it's allowed me to not be too upset with myself. That's the only thing it has. But I wasn't here to have a pat on the back and say, oh, you came close. I don't really like that. But it's allowed me to not be as upset as I would have been if I wasn't hearing it.
Hey, Denzel, we were talking about the fight the week before, and we were trying to figure out how you'd go about it.
Yeah, this is a great point.
Shot to nothing and go and gamble and try and get a shootout. But when the fight was put to you and you sat down with Martin and Ray and that, did you think I'm good enough here? I can beat this guy. I can box him. Did getting in a shootout ever enter your mind, or were you always confident of doing it the long way?
No, I never thought of getting in the shootout. I knew he was technically good, and when someone's a boxer, it makes it kind of easier to kind of like figure out what they're doing. Even though he's very good, he's very smart and he's very slick. But a shootout didn't enter my mind. That was worst case scenario because I knew if I couldn't box him, then I'd just get in there and start fighting with him. And the two halves of the fight show that. But a shootout didn't enter my mind. No.
Denzel, what's going to be next for you? Are you going to look at defending the British middleweight title, or do you want fights on that world stage? Because, there's going to be a clamour for fights like yourself and Hamza Sherez, those sort of things. Are you going to be looking at the world stage? Or are you looking at defending your British title next?
I'm definitely looking at the world stage, but
yeah,
I'm still holding my British title because opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to close any doors. You know what I'm saying? So I have so many options. I should say. So I have so many options right now. I'm in a good place. I can defend my British title. I can push on to world honors. If I vacated my belt, I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't have the option to defend my British title. And obviously, it's only one more defense to keep it outright. But it's all these options will be laid out on the table for me, and then obviously the best one is what me and my team will pick. So I'm in a good position.
What was it like afterwards, Denzel? Did you impress people? Did you make some good contacts? Were they keen to see you again over there?
Yeah, 100%. As soon as I left the venue, I was hanging around for a bit. And people were like, "Oh man, Bentley, what a fight!" Taking pictures, asking pictures. "Oh, we'd love to see you back." And a lot of them came over and said, "Listen, man, that should have been a draw. It was a split decision. Them judges, I don't know what they were talking about. That should have been a draw or a split decision." And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I got to watch it and see. But thank you. And I've watched it and I can see what they're saying. But it is what it is, isn't it?
And was there a point? You were in there with him. You started coming back. Was there a point you looked in his eyes and you had that moment 2 fights ago where you knew that he respected you and he was worried?
Yeah, no. Round 8 was my best round.
Yeah.
And then I hit him with a shot. And I looked at him and I thought, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. And I was trying to up the pace, but he looked tired. He looked a bit, he wasn't there, but he was going backwards. And I thought, I'm on this guy. But if I'm being honest as well, without making excuses, my hands were getting sore, so I couldn't put anything through hard. But I just thought, just keep throwing, keep touching him. He's feeling these shots anyway. But I couldn't really lay into him and be like how I was like, without being disrespectful, laying into Marcus Morrison, because obviously that was
it's different.
But no, it was a good fight. I enjoyed it. I saw little smirks in his face. I'm thinking he respects me in it. I know he did.
Yeah. Just one final question before we go on to the next round, Dan. When the final bell went and you went back to the corner to Ray, and did anyone say, "We think you've done enough," or "We're not going to get this"? What was the general feeling the moment you went back to your corner, or were they just praising you on what was an excellent performance?
Yeah, they're just like, well done, excellent performance. And initially I was a bit pissed off because the scorecards didn't show the fight. If it was like a 15-13, and I'd be like, you know what, we came close. But 18-10 and 16-12, but 18-10 was like, it just didn't show the fight. But that was yeah.
You're in Las Vegas where Top Rank run the show as well.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's someone filling in the card before they've even watched the fight, isn't it?
They filled it in and they went to the casino.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'll tell you what, I think we've overrun there, John. We're not bothering with a clock here on that round because we had to hear plenty from you, Denzel, there, and I'm going to ask you a couple of things. But round 2, someone who's John's going to start us off here, someone who's aspiring to where you are and get to world level. Dennis McCann. Is Dennis the Menace for real, John?
Yeah, I tell you what, he looked the real deal to me at weekend when he beat Ham from Scotland. Never in a single moment's trouble, was he? He just had it all his own way. And he went a little bit flat, Dennis, didn't he? He burst onto the scene, he was taking people apart, and he went a little bit flat. And I think Frank might have had a little bit of a word with the camp, to try and bring that excitement back and let Dennis off a leash. And the last 3 or 4 times, he seems to have got that perfect balance, doesn't he, where he's boxing, but when he sees a chance, he's taking people out. Him and Liam Davis is a great fight, a great fight, and it'll happen next year. But yeah, what did you both think of little Dennis the Menace?
You know what? I thought it was his best performance for a long time. Joe Ham Jr., a good, very tough Scottish opponent. Maybe Joe, I remember when Joe went professional and, should be a warning to a lot of young pros who have great amateur careers. He was a very good amateur and he was the big hope of Scottish boxing. It didn't quite, he's had a good professional career, but not what they hoped. He just wasn't in there on Saturday night. And I think it was his toughness that kept him in there. And I think Joe knows that, and he's even announced his retirement because ever since Dennis did that, he knocked out Brett Fido with that body shot, must have been 2 or 3, about 2 years ago. I think he struggled to find his way, and it's slowly come back. And I know for a fact, I think Frank was unhappy about how performances. Frank Warren was unhappy about performances, how they were going from where they were. He felt they plateaued off, and I think you may be right, John, that he had a word maybe with them all.
Yeah, no, I think Dennis is the real deal. His last 2 fights, he stopped 2 opponents that never been stopped before. You know, top guys as well that fought top opposition of people, fought for big titles and stuff. And Dennis came and he dismantled Johan. He picked his shots. He was comfortable in there. He didn't look in trouble at any point. Got him out of there. But I think Dennis has a long way to go. Only 21. Yeah, he's going all the way.
Yeah, we got to remember that he's only 21. That's a good point because he's been on TV for so long. From the you know, you've graduated to becoming a TV fighter. I remember meeting you for the first time, Denzel, when you stepped in at 2 hours' notice at that hotel. Was it Sir Jambomo? Was it? It was one of the Cameroonian guys. I remember that was the first time I met you.
I tell you what, Sergey's still dangerous.
Yeah, he is. He beat a prospect the other day, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's had a couple wins lately. He won on points, one knockout.
And he nearly chinned Jake Goodwin, VIP prospect.
I was there. Yeah, I was there. We were both there, John, weren't we, that night? Yeah. Yeah, he's still lively. But what I was saying, whereas Denzel, you slowly become a TV fighter. Dennis has been there since the day one, and we still forget he's 21 because he's been on TV for 3 years.
Plus, he looks about 30, doesn't he? He's got one of them old 21-year-old faces, Dennis.
You tell him that. I'm not gonna... Well, there you go. Round 3. I just really want to speak to Denzel about, you need hands. Zach Parker's hand injury and the subsequent criticism. I don't know. You know what? When you've never been in the ring, I think of it and I looked at it Saturday night and I thought, oh God, you wouldn't stop fighting or anything like that in the fight of that magnitude. And then you sit back, you take it all in over yesterday. You read the stick he got, which was up on Twitter and stuff, and you wonder. You see the X-ray and it's a clean break. You wonder. What it's like for a fighter in there when it was injured. What do you think of that, Denzel? With him being retired by the corner or a fight being stopped at the start of that round.
I think it's all it's give or take. It's like, did he make the right decision? Yeah, probably. But does it look good? No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Of course, it showed his hand was a clean break. I even said that I don't doubt his hand's broken. But at the end of the day, you're a fighter, and sometimes as a fighter, you think, does this do more damage to me in the long run than right now? If he just broke it that round, it's like, and you can't force anyone to do anything that they can't or they're not able to do. But if he'd have given it another round and it was clear that hand was out of the game, he couldn't throw it, he couldn't punch it, and everyone had seen it, and the corner said, "Look, we're not having this. We're taking you out the fight." It's different. It's like, look, that was totally out of control. But the manner in which it was stopped, or which the fight was ended in, no one knew what was going on. And then after that, you come around and you're showing everyone your hand, but it's like, all right, what does that mean? Yeah. Everyone's seen fighters fight with broken hands. People fight with shoulders are popped out. We saw him fight with one arm against Darryl Williams. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you've done it before, it can be done, but in that manner, it was just all strange. It was like a anti-climax. Everyone was looking forward to that fight. The tide started changing. John was getting on top of you a little bit. Your hand broke, fair enough. But then it was like, was you looking for a way out? Was you really incapable? But yeah,
that's what I think. That's what jumped out to me about it. It should have been handled different. The corner should have looked into a future a little bit and taken it out of his hands. Pardon my joke there. But yeah, if Zach could come out with a fifth, clearly you can't throw that. It's a clean break, isn't it? He's either got to get through the fight with one hand, or it would have been really obvious and his corner could have saved him for another day, saved his reputation. But yeah, it was just instant, wasn't it? Right, done. And I wonder if that Williams fight played on his mind. He remembered how hard that was.
Maybe.
A lot of people thought he lost that fight.
I saw an interview, he said, I'm not doing that again. I fought 1-4.
Did he say that? Yeah, you know what? So when I saw it at first, I thought, well, even Sunday morning, I was really questioning it. Oh, what's he done? Pulling out there and all that. And as I thought about it more, and I saw the stuff coming on Twitter, the abuse, I thought, I've never boxed like that. I've never boxed. That guy don't deserve what's coming at him now. And I sort of slowly started to see it in another light. And I spoke to you, John, and you said very similar to what Denzel said when we spoke just on message yesterday, didn't you? About
it could have been handled different. They could have saved his reputation if not the fight.
Yeah, because to me it looked like he said he didn't want to box no more, but I couldn't see it from the from where I was properly. So that's what it looked like.
You know,
Like, no, I'm all right.
You know what a corner's like. It's done in a whisper in the ear, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
So it was just a bit strange. And then like you got to think about it when you're boxing next. Are people going to want to come out and see you? They might just feel like, nah, you're going to waste our time again. I don't know. You might be all right, but at the same time, there was a lot on the line. To just let go like that. And that's my thing. There was a world championship or a fight with Canelo. That's the two of the top things right now in that weight class. So do you really, everyone's chasing the fight with Canelo. You're going to be mandatory or you get the world title vacates. But hey,
whatever happens, it already looks a long road back for Zach, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly that.
Long road back, you know. Okay, round 4. It's one of your topics, Denzel. Drugs in boxing.
Yeah, I threw that one out there. I couldn't think of anything else. But drugs in boxing, I think it's very more common than a lot of people think, and I don't think enough's being done about it. And I think when people do get caught, it's always let's give them the benefit of the doubt or a slap on the wrist or let's wait to see what happened. Whereas it's a case of drugs and like finding drugs in your system. It's as simple as if you've never had it before, it will never be there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's like, I can't explain it, but if you've never taken something, it will never be there. You won't find it there because it's never been there. So how do you then go about saying, oh, let's wait to hear the story? But then it's like someone's giving it to you or you're knowingly taking it. But either way, you or someone around you needs to be responsible for this. No one should get away scot-free for this. And that's my opinion on it.
You know what? I've thought about this a lot. And, you know, we saw like we had Conor Benn, and more recently, hasn't received the publicity, is Zolani Teti, who badly knocked out Jason Cunningham. That was a horrible knockout. Now, they're all saying, oh, there must be some mistake. There's always a mistake when you're caught. And the more I've thought about this the last week and the last hour since I know you're going to talk about this, I just think we've got to have that zero tolerance line. There's no excuse. Exactly. If you're positive, you get 2 years, 18 months first time. You just get 18 months. There's no inquiry. Boxing universally comes together. And do you know what? You'd enough get some clean fighters then because it's a deterrent. It's almost like when you see a load of police somewhere target an area when they're walking around, you know, where there might be a load of shoplifters, say. But their presence is a deterrent. And that would be the greatest deterrent they would, even if it's something you buy over a counter accidentally. You know, because you can go on UCAD, you can contact them, and every drug is there you can and can't take. Kerry Kayes, who looks after a lot of fighters, well, he's not as busy as he was because he's semi-retired now. He always said, there's a list, that's what you can't take. And a 25-year-old man, 26-year-old man, whatever age, you're old enough to have responsibilities of what you put in your body. That's what I think. Just an instant ban for 18 months.
I tell you what, nobody ever tests positive for a performance-restricting drug, do they?
Exactly.
If it was all bad luck and it's got into my system by mistake, it's what a coincidence. Every single time these people get caught, it's for an enhancing drug.
Enhancing, something that, exactly. And I think accident or not, what you said, Steve, 18 months, boom, negligence. You should know better. You should know. Accident or not. And on top of that, anyone that has a nutritionist, they will advise you to get the supplements that say Informed Sport on it. And even though it says Informed Sport on it, they would ask you to take a sample out and pull it away, seal it, pull it away and seal it. So if anything comes up, you've got all the samples of everything you've been taking, and you hand it over and say, here you go, this is what I've been taking. If there's something that comes from this is what it is. And I have never seen a fighter come up with that and say, look, this is what it is. It was contaminated in the lab back there. This is Informed Sport, but this is what I've been taking. Here's a sample of it. If you find any traces, it's from this. Never seen that happen in my life. It's always, I don't know, it must have been this my food or something I drank. Come on, man. Someone needs to be responsible. Either the person that's looking after you, doing all your foods or your nutrition, or you yourself. Someone's got to take responsibility, and that's just my opinion on it.
I think a lot of these people, like nutritionists and strength and conditioning coaches, a lot of it, the fighter is their advertisement, isn't it? They want to see him look good on the scales. They want to see him fit. They don't give a shit about the boxing side of it. And whether they know what's legal, whether they don't know what's legal, whether they just don't care. They're just trying to achieve a weight and a target and something that looks good on photographs, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
I think a lot of that comes into it. Like, You guys are there. You guys are their advertisements. There's so much to it, but at the end of the day, like you said, Denzel, the person who's signing the contract to fight, it's up to them, isn't it? That's where the buck stops.
Brilliant.
100%.
Brilliant, and good to hear you on that, Denzel. Something you obviously feel strongly about, and rightly so. Round 5. This is one that John's picked, and I knew he was going to pick this very soon. He won't have a better night out than what he's going to have at Manchester Arena in January next year. I know John's sort of fights. Chris Eubank Jr. against Liam Smith.
Yeah, it's my kind of fight, this one. I can't wait for it already. You couldn't get 2 more opposite people, could you? You couldn't get 2 more opposite styles. I think it's a crossroads fight. I think the loser's really struggling for somewhere to go. Eubank at middleweight again, coming down. Will it hurt him getting down there? Has Liam Smith can he cope with the speed? Is that high held guard just a recipe for disaster against Eubank? I can't wait for it. It's got absolutely everything. I think the styles are going to clash. It's going to be a great fight. And for someone who's knocking on that door now, Denzel, not a million miles away, you're in that mix. What do you think of it?
I think I want the winner. But it's a good fight. Like you said, it's just who's better at doing what they do. Liam Smith comes with that high guard and that pressure, and he's just going to let shots go. And Eubank more recently has been on the back foot with his arms a bit high, but not guarded, just in front of him. Things he's jumping, but he's still got that speed. That's one thing he has, but he's just not as relentless as he used to be. So it'll be good. I think Eubank being the naturally bigger guy, he should win. But Liam Smith's pressure and his fitness, Liam Smith's still in there. He's not an aging fighter. He's not done. He's still pretty much, a dangerous opponent.
You know what? You know John, and who one of my favourite fighters are, 'cause I've been around him a lot. Liam Smith, I'm biased here. I've got to put my hand up. I love Liam, and I'm really, I like Chris as well, but I go back a long way with Liam, and I don't think he's been a brilliant pro. What is going to be interesting to see is how the fight builds up. I mean, we're recording this on Monday. They got their press conference tomorrow night. One thing, Liam will not be riled by anything that's said to him. It's a sort of fight like, when he fought Anthony Fowler, that in his head, that was almost the fight. I cannot lose to you. There was real antagonism then. And Liam will feed off that and make that in his mind that he cannot lose this fight to a man like this. That's just Liam. His temperament's good. I was with him when he fought Canelo. I was with him. I went over with him in July for the press conference. I had just over a week with him out there. And when he was fighting Canelo, he wasn't unsettled. His temperament was right. And I still got a feeling he can win this fight. It's educated. If he can use the educated pressure and make Eubank fight 3 minutes around, I'm telling you, we could have that. I don't even call it a monumental upset, a mini upset.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'd call it a mini upset. I think it's Eubank. He's got the name, but I always think he's sort of flattered to deceive. I don't think he's ever hit the heights, as he's never done what people thought he should have done. Liam Smith was a good world champion, beaten people like Vargas, gave Canelo a good fight, fought really well out there.
He did.
I don't think it'd be an upset if Liam Smith beat Eubank. Maybe the weight might come into it, the size, but style for style and achievement for achievement, I wouldn't call it an upset if Smith
I think me personally, I wouldn't call it an upset neither. But I know what you mean. I think Eubank's favourite and he's expected to win. That's the name and a half around him. But Liam Smith's that good. I don't think anyone would be shocked if he'd won. Just more upset that the money fight, in the UK is kind of gone.
I tell you what, if Eubank wins, that's the money fight for you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to be rooting for Eubank. You've made that clear, haven't you? I tell you, fight Eubank, you'll have the biggest house in Battersea Village, not just a 3-bedroom, will you?
Have you ever sparred either of them, Denzel?
What's that?
Have you ever sparred either of them?
No, we've asked to spar both of them. Eubank and his team just didn't get back to us. Liam Smith asked us for sparring just for his last fight against is he the South African guy or the Zimbabwean?
That guy.
Yeah, he asked me for sparring for them, but then he said the guy's a switch hitter, and I was like, oh, so am I. But they didn't get back to us, so man.
Yeah, great fight and a great start to 2023 boxing in Britain in January. Cannot wait for that fight. Well, round 6, a big fight this weekend. Fury versus Chisora, and You know what? I'm finding it hard to really get up for it. Maybe by the end of the week when the hype machine's going, it's like the trilogy that nobody wants. I'm trying to think of, you think of bad trilogies in boxing. You had Holyfield Ruiz had those 3 fights. I remember back in the 90s, there was a mad super light middleweight, was it known as a trilogy, where Luis Santana fought Terry Norris. Santana was very ordinary. He won the first 2 fights on disqualification. And when Norris held his hands up in the 3rd fight, I was at that one, knocked him absolutely spark out.
I love Terry Norris.
Yeah, I love Norris. You can't not love Norris, mate. You can't not love him.
Terry Norris. I know we're going off topic for 10 seconds. Terry Norris is pure violence, isn't he?
Yeah, he was. And you know what? One of the saddest things I ever saw, and I'm trying to think, it was right at the end of his career. Did he lose to Dana Rosenblatt?
Yeah, the Jewish.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Dana Rosenblatt. It was in a casino in Connecticut the night before Lewis fought Zelko Mavrovic, and I went to see it, and it was really sad seeing Terry shuffle to the ring and shuffle out of it because of the wars are taking their toll. But anyway, Fury Chisora, I find it hard to get up for. The first fight, Chisora turned up in dreadful shape, didn't win a round, and the second fight was one of Fury's easiest nights at the office. Good luck to Del getting a payday, but it's not one I'm excited for. What do you think, Denzel? Are you going to be at Tottenham jumping up and down for either of them?
No, I'm on birthday that weekend, so
happy birthday to you.
But yeah, no, you're right. It's even mad to think this is a trilogy, if I'm being honest with you. But I think it's one of those fights where, to be honest though, Chisora has gotten better with age. So he might put up a bit more of a fight, but we all know it's a fight Fury wins easily, and it's not as exciting. You're right, it's hard to get up for, especially, when he just come off them fights with Wilder. We all wanted to see him and AJ. Then we all wanted to see him and Usyk, and then we get Chisora. It's like, oh my, we didn't get none of those 3 fights. So it's hard to get up. We just want him to get through this and get to Usyk and get for the undisputed fight, for a fight that we all can really get up for.
Oh, you can't, go on. Sorry, John.
I don't think Del Boy, I think a lot of people don't know how to take Del Boy, do they? When he turns up at the weigh-ins and he's got his games and he's acting up and he intimidates a lot of people, doesn't he? Fury doesn't give a fuck about Chisora. And I think that gets in Chisora's mind and it just puts him in his shell and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know
what to do. Yeah, you're right.
He doesn't know how to act around Fury. I remember hearing a story once. Chisora was eyeing Fury up at ringside. It was Fury and Chisora. And Fury took his shirt off there and then, in traveller style, and said, "Come on then, Del, now." And Del, backed away and he was shaken at that point. Yeah. But I just wonder if that might force him to do something completely different this weekend and go the kitchen sink for 3 rounds.
You know what? Chisora is the most unpredictable person I've ever met in boxing. And it just shows, the varying in his mind. I'll give you an example. When he fought Klitschko in Munich, one of the maddest weeks I've ever been around. You had him slapped him at the weigh-in and it was crazy. Anyway, on the Wednesday before the fight, I was there as the roving reporter for Box Nation. Dereck had to go and do an interview with John Rawling for his big pre-fight interview. It might have been the Tuesday before the fight in Munich. So we get in this van, we're all being taken to the interview where it's being set up in this hotel where John's staying. There's Chisora's team, myself, and another cameraman who's working with me. So Del wasn't in the happiest mood on this Wednesday morning. So I'm saying something, and he said, "You're not being negative. You're being positive. I don't want negativity around me." It was nothing I said. He just, dug me out. I said, "Okay, I'm sorry." And it was all right. He was, not a lot was said. He was in a mood. He did this interview with John, and he was fine during that. He had to do it. And on the way back, we're passing this sort of mountain area, and it's snowing. And Del says, "Stop the van." And he suddenly goes from being quite morose and miserable to these big smiles. He sees there's these school kids sledging. Next thing, it's 4 days before the fight. He's walking up this fucking hill and he starts sledging for an hour with his kids. And then he's a different guy. And that's the unpredictability. And you might be right. I think he might go in there, might throw the kitchen sink for 3 rounds, not make any dent in Fury, and then get stopped in 5 or 6 rounds.
Well, I'll tell you what, he might need his sledge on Saturday, might he? Outdoors at Tottenham Stadium.
It's going to be cold there. Let's hope it's not wet for the punters who have paid a lot of money for tickets. But it's just not a fight I can get up for it with. But you know what? If it's a fight we moan about now, and this time next week they say, you know, Usyk's going to sidestep his mandatory and just fight Tyson Fury in February, we'll all be happy, won't we?
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know what? It keeps Fury in the ring, doesn't it? It stops him getting out of shape and getting himself in trouble. It keeps him fit and keeps people talking. So yeah, it is what it is, but it's not. I can't see it being thrill a minute.
Yeah, I'm going for Fury in about 6 rounds. What's your prediction, Denzel?
Yeah, I think Fury. I'll probably about the same as you. I think the first half of the fight, because Chisora just starts getting lazy and leaning on the ropes, and Fury's just going to lean in him and hit him on the top of the head, and he's gone.
Right, fellas, thanks very much for this week. I can see, John, you're busy there with Lloyd, the welterweight champion, the world welterweight champion dog, named after a great fighter. Denzel, thanks as always for joining us, and I'll let you get back to the rest of the first half of Portugal, Uruguay, and thank everyone who's watching, listening, and again, thanks for getting us to number 11 on the Apple charts. Thanks very much indeed, everybody. Cheers, fellas.
Really nice one, Denzel.
For all boxing info, news, and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.